Can you believe what's taken place now? I don't know about you, but the country I live in is just in an uproar. It's in an uproar. Unbelievable. You know, when you are supposed to be non bias and you're supposed to be for freedoms and you're supposed to be for um, the family, and if your foundation is based on a solid um, or if your country is based on a solid foundation, okay, it usually has all those things where you're not biased toward peoples and cultures. There's not a lot of prejudice. The laws will reflect that there shouldn't be any prejudice. There are black people and white people and yellow people and like tan people and like different cultures and different religions, and we are capable of living together in peace and harmony. However, when you close your eyes to what's happening and you become a sheep, which I am seeing in the country I'm in, everybody's a sheep. Everybody wants to follow, the lead, right? They want to be corralled into that little pasture and eat only that alfalfa, okay? And I see this taking place. And then all of a sudden, there's big news, right? Well, you know what? You people, you voted this person into power. You did. Okay, whoever you might be, you voted him in. You gave him the reigning power. You handed him the reins of power, and the news media accolade him. They praised him. They talked about the good qualities he had and what a great leader this person was and how he was going to squash a rebellion and he wasn't going to have civil unrest within our borders. And what has happened? What has happened? The particular country I'm talking about or I'm thinking about, their politics is based on ego. Yeah, yeah. And their politics or their politicians are voted in based on who likes them the most, right? Yeah. How receptive that politician is to a certain population's ideologies, okay? So if your ideologies fit with this particular individual who wants to gain a place in power, if your ideologies meld with his because he needs votes, okay? So politicians have a tendency to know where the weak spots are. Okay, that's what they're trained to do. They're trained to take advantage of the people who are the sheep, right? But not only that, they are trained to take advantage of those disenfranchised people or those people who need their help to move to a new level. And we've seen this when the doors were opened on immigration in this one particular country. Certain populations were allowed in. Just flood the gates, bring them all in, bring as many in as you can, right? And then when you are done with the votes, when you have taken their votes and their loyalty, and you have got yourself a throne of power, which basically is what it is, okay? Then you throw them to the wayside. You throw them to the wayside, okay? You don't stand up for their beliefs or their ideologies. You use them. You use them to gain that throne of power. And once again, I see in this particular country, I see this taking place again. So this one particular individual is once again jumping on the coattails of some disenfranchised group of people, okay? And not only a disenfranchised group of people, okay? People who are trying to gain their independence and their freedoms. And this particular individual is causing unrest within our own borders, And I don't know if you're religious, and I don't know, and I don't really follow it. religion, but I did do a study on it when I was in college and university. And the end of time, it's going to happen where your enemies are going to come from within your borders. Think about it. Think about it. So there's a period of civil unrest taking place within the borders of this particular country. And this particular person is riding the coattails of this disenfranchised group of people who have possibly left their own native land and relocated to this particular land looking for freedom and looking for a sense of security and stability. Okay, but as soon as, and don't think you're out of this, as soon as your ideologies or your belief systems are of no longer of value to those in a position of power, how long do you think it will take before they turn on you? Yeah. And that's what I see happening. I have friends who have been in that group, not this particular group, but I do have friends that belong to this particular group. But I mean, think about it. Think about it. Back in the day, the natives, okay, the natives. In our world today, in 2023, we still have native peoples who are on reserves that don't have running water, clean running water, or the capacity for clean running water. They don't. What in the hell is wrong with our country? You ride on the coattails of these disenfranchised people, or these people who are struggling to keep their religious beliefs and their cultures alive, and you ride on their coattails. And then when you gain that seat of power, you turn on them. You turn on them and you give them nothing. Nothing? But what? But what? Your empty promises. Your empty promises is what you give them. And then you complain when they turn on you. You complain when there's a protest. You complain when someone steps up to the plate and says, you didn't deliver on what you promised. And I can't say who this particular video is talking about because we are controlled in this particular country. We are controlled as to our thoughts and our beliefs and our ideologies and our everything. Everything. Think about it. Yeah. Here's a little tidbit for you, okay? Facebook, Twitter, all these other social outlets, okay? You're not allowed to repost news, any news, Russian news, Canadian news, United States, any news, anything that says newscast, you can't repost. And why? Because this particular government wanted a little piece of the pie, right? So people like myself are caught in the middle of this tug in war, this tug of war, this economic tug of war. We want some of the profits. Well, we're not giving them. Well, we want some, and if we don't get them, we're going to put a kibosh on you. We're going to close you down, right? And it backfired. Who did it backfire on? It didn't backfire on those people in the position of power. No. It backfired on the little people. The people who pay the taxes, the people who are perhaps disenfranchised, the people who don't have enough food in their cupboards and can't afford to pay their hydro bill and can't afford to buy homes and are living on the street. Those are the people that it trickles down to, not those people in a position of power. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. I got no faith in any politician. Any politician. I haven't met a politician that actually came true on what he promised. And if they did, in one hand they're giving and in the other hand they're taking away. Right? Right. It's a shame. It's a shame what's taking place. It is. It's truly, truly a shame. And not only that, the control is slowly seeping in to the future, okay? So the FDA passed a law that they will regulate supplements. So even supplementation that people like myself, where I can't afford the food, the regular sustenance of food, healthy food, to sustain my body with the vitamins and the minerals and the nutrients it needs, okay? Yeah. I can't even buy supplements because you know what's happening? They're regulating it. They're regulating. What happens when you regulate something? The cost goes up. And the cost goes up because why? Because why? Because you have to pay. Yeah, listen to this. You have to pay that government agency for testing those products to regulate them. You have to pay extra. So any supplements that you were paying like $5 for, it will double. It will double because the people who are producing those products have to pay extra in order to purchase the products that they need to make the product that they make. Simple as that. The cost is going to go up. And then I can't afford it. So I can't afford food. I can't afford supplements. I eat one meal a day, right? Yeah. The cost of a bus pass has gone right through the roof. I'm a senior. I'm a senior. What is there for us? Did our money go up? No, but the cost of living goes up every year. But seniors, what is there for us? Yeah. Dental? Okay. The NDP joined with the Liberals in Canada to provide dental care for seniors. I no longer have dental care, and you know why? Because they're not paying the dentist. Yeah. I had to pay for my own dental work. I can't afford it anymore. And the reason why is because when there is a dentist that you go to and they look for their money to get paid for that dentist appointment, okay, they have to go through this big rigmarole. It's a third-party payment. You have to go to a third party, apply to have that fund sent to your dentist. Then that third party contacts your dentist and finds out your pertinent private information, and it takes 6 weeks. It takes 6 weeks for the dentist to get paid. So most of the dentists in Canada, where I'm from, they have refused. They have opted not to take on people who are on the system of any sort. And any costs incurred with dental work is right through the roof because the cost of everything in my country is elevated. And why? Why is it elevated? You know why? Because we have politicians that need to get their pay raises and fly on their big jets and go on their holidays to British Columbia or to India or to, wherever, right? Costa Rica, right? And the rest of us, where's our holiday? We're lucky if we have a porch to put a rocking chair on, if we even have a rocking chair to look at the stars. Oh, yeah, and let's get this right? Can you see the stars? No, you can't. You know why? Light pollution. And why? Why is there light pollution? This world is just screwed. Why is there light pollution? Why is there pollution, period? Because those in the seats of power think that we need more and more and more and more and more. But will they legalize tiny homes? No, and you know why? You know why? You know why tiny homes are not legalized and are not allowed in the main society? You know what? Because they can't tax them. Because they can't tax them enough. You can only tax over a certain size, right? So change the damn law. You want to tax the tiny homes? Tax them. You don't need to tax them through the roof. But the problem is there are so many bills that a country has to pay nowadays. And what are we doing? We are supplying millions and trillions of dollars to other countries, right? To other countries to fund what? To fund what? War. Choosing war over peace. Yeah. Diplomacy is dead, right? It's dead. Diplomacy is dead. I always thought that if you were a politician, you had to have a certain way or mannerism, you had to be a little bit higher class than the rest of us, right? You had to be a little bit, more put together and more kind of like diplomatic in your attire and in your personification. Okay. So, seriously, an authority figure that will threaten, cajole, call his population obscene names, put them down, take their freedoms on them, lock them down, not allow them to protest, not allow them freedom of speech in their own country, not allow them the freedom of movement within their own boundaries. Okay, it's ridiculous. I don't know how somebody like that stays in the seat of power. Oh wait, yes, I do know how, because this individual plays on the freedoms of other people, and they play on the inadequacies in our country and in our freedoms. They play on it. They thrive on it. Yeah. They use it to their benefit, is what they do. So I don't know how you feel about this, but it seems like the whole world is at war. And it doesn't help with particular people antagonizing the situation. There used to be a thing in my country where you were innocent until proven guilty. That doesn't seem right anymore. That doesn't seem right. Unless you know something specifically and you have proof for it, why would you accuse? Why would you accuse somebody if you don't have proof? I don't get it. I don't get it. Maybe I'm too old school. In the old school, you had to be a man of your word or a woman of your word. We don't know who we are anymore. Nobody knows who they are. This new woke culture, it's great, wonderful. I'm glad. You can love who you want. You can marry who you want. You can call yourself whatever you want to call yourself, okay? But you don't erase a complete gender to become the person that you want to be. You don't erase a complete species to become the person you want to be. And you sure as hell, you don't relate or release or erase a whole culture or an ideology just so that your ideology sits on the top of the pile? Like, truly? See you on the next video. The good Lord be willing.